All right, we'll do one. We'll do one quick one on a Friday night. I love 3-game slates, all right? Normally we only get them for Thanksgiving in these rare, like, Week 15 slates, but I like them, so we're going to do it a little emergency Friday night stream so that you can have everything you need to know for the 3-game slate tomorrow. It's going to be short and sweet, basically the opposite of me. I'm an asshole and I'm very tall, but that doesn't mean the show has to be that way. What's up, new guy? My name's James, better known as the Degenerate75. I'm a DFS content creator who is here to help you get a little bit better at DFS. I know a secret that nobody wants to tell you called this shit's tough, and you're doing so many things wrong, and you don't even know what it is. If you're coming here for picks and plays, don't worry. There's plenty of other shows out there, but you're not going to get a single one here. But if you want to learn a little bit about the process, we'll touch on it, although this ain't going to be the normal show. You want all that shit? Be here tomorrow, 7 o'clock in the Lord's time zone. You see the schedule above my shoulder, okay? If we get a whole bunch of likes, I don't even want to set a number. I will give a ticket away if we get a bunch of likes, but I don't even know if anybody's going to be here. So I'm just going to start blabbing, get going. Real quick on contest selection tomorrow. As I told you, this is not going to be your typical show. We're flying through this. I'm here to answer your questions and update you so you can get any questions you want over there, up to 2. Yes, more than 2. I will have the editor boot your ass and kick you in the nuts before you go. I will tell you, tomorrow's slate is fun. It's 6 teams that, like, none of them are good, but none of them are bad. They all have a lot to play for. And honestly, I feel like any of them could sneaky go for like 35 points tomorrow, right? It's a weird slate in that, like, all of the teams have a pulse, right? And none of them's obvious, right? We don't have, like, the Cowboys at home, you've got to play these motherfather type game on here, right? Yes, I know we have the Lions at home, but let's face it, Lions haven't exactly been world beaters recently. So my first thought was, tomorrow I might mix up the old process and have a little bit of fun tomorrow and just toss 150 in. Problem is, all the contests you can throw 150 lineups in tomorrow, they all suck donkey dick, right? Like, you got the big main for $20, but I'm never playing in one that a third of the money goes to first. Get the fuck out of here with your lottery. You scroll down here. Let's scroll by total prizes. Another one you could do, they have the big $10 you can do 150, but look at that, a third to first. Polly, tell them, get the fuck out of here. I ain't playing in that. And then you think the $5, it's okay, but it's 25% to first. I mean, second place is only 40% of first. 10th place is only 1/50th of first. So, like, I may want to play 150 lineups tomorrow. I got some really icky takes. And when the ickier my takes are, the more I want to spray in 150, right? But not in these contests, Bob. So that's just what happens. Sometimes on these 3-game slates, you don't get great contest structures. So, I'll probably just be doing my normal tomorrow. I'm going to be playing the $100 single entry, the 3 max 150, shit like that, because, I just like those payout structures, Bob. I just like them. Like, hey, look, here's the $100 single entry tomorrow, right? First place is only 1/6 of the prize pool, so 16%. Second place is 60% of first. That's awesome. And 10th place is 1/25th. I like it to be 1/10th, but 1/25th is better than 1/50th, Dickie. So we're going to take what we can get, all right? So there you go. That's just a little heads up. If you're wanting to spam the 150 tomorrow, it's going to be hard. Maybe the 50 cent or something down here. Let's see if the 50 cent's any good. There you go play in the mini max, all right? If you want to drop 150 lineups tomorrow, it costs you $75 here. 10th place is 1/10 of the 50,000. Second place is half of that, and 10th place is 1/33rd, right? Here's what I'd say: it ain't easy to beat 119,000 people. I believe it was Isaac Newton who said that. I believe that was the 4th law of thermodynamics. I'm pretty sure. I don't do a lot of reading, but that's what I've heard that it was. All right, of course, go hop in my contest. Remember, this is not for the 3-game slate tomorrow. This is for the Sunday main slate. Editor, go ahead and drop it over here in the chat now. Let's just get this bitch filled. You guys have been doing such a great job getting it filled where I don't have to be on Twitter being like, fill my shit. I've had to do it before. It's not fun, so thank you guys for getting it filled. It's a $5 3 max reduced rate. Appreciate every single one of you motherfathers. As always, I think you always want to check out the weather. There is a chance at some rain tomorrow for the Bengals. I will tell you, over on my Discord, we will be going live because it is the first game, which is great because we'll have the most up-to-date weather. And if this game rains, I'm going to give a big minus to it, right? I will dock everybody a good to 10 to 15%. Right now, it appears as though the rain's going to hold off, but I do want to warn you, I did just literally bring on a weather guy onto my team because that's what a fucking tryhard I am at weather. And we are going to have the latest projections. And if I see that it's going to be windy or rainy or both, we're going to dock this game because this is the only game outside tomorrow, right? Indianapolis and Detroit, it might be shitty weather tomorrow, but I promise you this, it's going to be beautiful inside those domes, you motherfathers. So I don't give a shit what it's like outside, okay? So something worth noting tomorrow, one game is outside, and I think that you would be a fool to not be looking at the most updated weather, especially when that's our first game. All right, I told you we're not dicking around tonight. We're getting right to it. This is the blank Rosetta Stone. This is what I offer all my members over on my site at dgen75.com. Of course, this is the YouTube. I'm a poor version, so you get the black and white one. If you want to see what it really looks like, it has everything from ownership to cash plays to status watch to high upside guys to their ownership to their projections to their points per dollar, their optimal rates, everything you need to know, Bob. Everything you need to know is on there, but you know what? This is the YouTube version, so you're going to take what you get. I do have the statuses marked on there so we can talk about them. We have the totals on there. We have the defensive grades. So we can talk about all that stuff. It's 3 games. I think the first thing we want to talk about tomorrow is this is just like Thanksgiving in that it's a 3-game slate, but this is the important caveat. They're not all at the same time, right? We had a 2-game slate the other night. What was that? Monday night we had the 2-game slate, but those games are at the same time. And when games are at the same time, late swap is no longer on the menu. Tomorrow, late swap is definitely on the menu, right? And when late swap's on the menu, it should change the way you play the game. I think it is very likely that the chalkiest game tomorrow is probably going to be the last game, which should be good news for you because that allows you to get into these first 2 games, maybe grab some lower-owned, high-upside pieces, and if they get there, well, then you know how to play the last game, right? You just go grab the chalky pieces from this game. Or you can go play some of those pump pieces in early games and say they blow up in your face like a big effing grenade. Well, now you can go pivot. Go play Jamison Williams in the late game, right? Go play piece of shit loser Jerry Jeudy or Marvin Mims or Samaje Perine and just hope that you find that diamond in the rough in the late game, right? But if things are going really, really well early, well, then you probably want to start blocking people out and grab people like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Cortland Sutton. These guys that are going to be highly owned and probably offer us more stability. There's never any true stability in fantasy sports, but I think we can all agree that some of these guys, more often than not, are going to offer us a safer floor than other players, right? So this is what's so fun about tomorrow. You can really make some calculated risks early in the day, and you can then adjust accordingly, right? Let's say in the first game, you want to go all in on a Nick Mullins stack. God bless your soul, okay? And he lights it up. Well, now you've got tremendous leverage, especially if you stacked him with Justin Jefferson, and Jefferson has 2 touchdowns and Mullins goes for 24 points or something like that. You now have this slate by the nuts, and you can really just go grab a bunch of chalky pieces the rest of the day because you have already gained huge leverage on the field by taking a lower-owned quarterback and doing well with him, and now you have people blocked out, so you go play the chalky pieces and make them go play the pivot assholes and try to catch you, right? This is part of how you can play the game when you have a 3-game slate like this and there's people staggered, right? Another thing to do is you just completely fade the first game, right? You can go way overweight on it or way underweight. I promise you, people are going to be owning people in this first game, right? Jake Browning looks like Joe Montana out there, right? Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, of course, Justin Jefferson, Ty Chandler. There's going to be some very popular plays in this game, and maybe you just grab 1 or 2 pieces. Maybe go grab a weird piece. Just go grab Jordan Addison or T. Higgins, like this piece in this game that could have a big game, but nobody's going to play. You hit that, everybody else just kind of does average or maybe below average, and now you've got the rest of the day by the nuts. You can go look at your lineups, and you can strategically start saying, man, everybody that played frickin' Jamar Chase and he only got 13 points, they're basically dead. Everybody that played Justin Jefferson and he got 16 points, they're basically dead, right? Especially if you played Addison and he got you like 22 points or something like that, right? And now you can really go use the rest of your lineup and be like, well, I was playing Mitchell Trubisky to be tricky, but I don't need to play that ass clown now. Now I can move to somebody safer, whether that's, whoever that is to you, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson, hell, even Gardner Minshew is probably safer than Mitchell Trubisky, okay? So this is how you use late swap tomorrow. Go into the day with a strategy, right? And be willing to adjust. This is why I if you're going to play 4 or 5 lineups tomorrow, I actually think that is a better strategy simply because of this. You can babysit 4 to 5 lineups, right? You can see how the first games are going and be like, oh, shit, I nailed this one, or oh, shit, it ain't going well. And you can go manage 4 or 5 lineups. If you do 150, I'll tell you right now, it ain't easy to babysit 150 lineups, Bob. All right, it's really not easy, okay? But if you're going to play a smaller number of lineups, you can really dive into this late swap strategy, and I think there's a lot to be had on it tomorrow, and it's really something you should consider because there are really, really solid plays on this slate, right? I mean, there's a great running back slate, a tremendous running back slate. It is a very below-average quarterback slate, and it's a solid wide receiver slate. So if you get off to a good start, well, then you can go play all those good, chalky running backs and not worry about it, right? You can feel good that you're playing them because you've already caught the leverage piece. Maybe you caught As I said in that first game, you played Tyler Boyd for whatever the fuck reason, and he goes for 18 points, right? Well, you probably have this slate by the nuts early on, and now you can play the rest of your lineup a bit more conservative. So really be thinking. That's what makes these 3-game slates fun, especially when the 3 games are at 3 separate times, where after each game or even during each game, you can be evaluating how your lineups are doing and be thinking on your feet. If all of this is above your head or it's making your head hurt or you don't want to think this hard about it, well, let me just go ahead and tell you, you ain't about NFL DFS. This is what the good players do, okay? You make your little lineups and you have your little plays and you think you're playing NFL DFS. That's not what real players do, all right? Real players are living and breathing this entire day. They make a whole day out of it, okay? Same thing with college football. For you guys that play college football cash, I always tell people, if you can't babysit your lineup, you get the fuck out of it, because part of being good at these things is being able to watch your lineup, see how it's doing, comparing it to others, and being able to adjust on the fly. And if you don't have that time or that dedication to do it, well, just know that DFS is a game, especially at NFL, where it's so sharp, you cannot beat it with your just picks and plays that your stupid fucking tout gives you, okay? I'm just trying to keep it real with you. Almost knocked my mic over. All right, let's get to these games. I'm going to catch you up on some stuff, and then I will answer your questions, and then I'm out of here like a fat kid in dodgeball. Number 1, we have Minnesota at Cincinnati. The lowest total of these games, the only one under a 40-point total on this slate. But, as always, good sneaky shootout. Anytime a game has Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, it can always sneaky shootout. Minnesota realized something that I was a couple weeks late realizing. They realized that Joshua Dobbs fucking sucks. I wish I would have realized that. A good rule of thumb that I will remember, part of my process moving forward, is you never play Sloth from the Goonies as your quarterback in your fantasy football lineup, right? Go look at him and tell me he is not a direct descendant of Sloth. I will fight you on this, okay? So Nick Mullins is going to be starting. We've seen Nick Mullins before. We haven't seen him in a while, but he is a guy who has played NFL football, right? He can throw a forward pass. I was really hoping they were going to go with Jaron Hall, but they're not. They're going with Nick Mullins at $5,000. All these quarterbacks are cheap tomorrow. You're not going to struggle to get a quarterback in tomorrow at these price tags. Nick Mullins, his team does have the lowest total on the slate at just 18 points. Their implied Vegas total is 18, right? Furthermore, with that, you also have Alexander Madison out. Not that I think that's a big deal, because Alexander Madison kind of has the same problem Josh Dobbs does. He's just not good at football. But Ty Chandler, I think, is good at football. And I think he's going to be mega chuck tomorrow, because at 5,300 in the role that he's going to be in, the guy's pretty good. And I think he's going to definitively lead that backfield. I think Gaskins and Nwangu, they might get a little bit of run, but I think you're going to see about 75% Ty Chandler out there. And at 5,300, if you think Minnesota is going to move the ball at all, I think Ty Chandler is a guy that can not only rush the ball, he'll be getting goal line carries, but most importantly, he'll be getting targets out of the backfield. Moving on to wide receiver, you know Justin Jefferson's the best wide receiver in the NFL. There's no doubt about it. But he's also kind of turned into Mr. Glass for all of you that have seemed unbreakable, right? He gets out there. I ran around. Oh, I got a catch. Hey, Justin Jefferson got a catch. And he's dead because he got tackled. All right, so Justin Jefferson, he's a little fragile. I love the guy. He's the best wide receiver in the NFL. Hell, even the route he got hurt on, he just left that corner's like jock strap on the field, all right? But he is banged up, all right? And I'm just going to tell you, Justin Jefferson is a guy that is not noted for being the toughest motherfather alive. But because of that, I think you might actually get a slight ownership discount. And at $8,100 on this slate, he should legit be over $9,000. I don't care who's throwing. You could put a high school kid out there throwing them the football. He should still be over $9,000, because this slate is just, the pricing is too soft. At $8,100, if you're going to get him at a slight ownership discount simply because of the injury concerns, I think that's the time you want to play Justin Jefferson, right? But at the same time, if you think that he's going to get over 50% owned, which some early projections are showing he might, well, then it might just be that you fade him and you just wait for that little wimp to frickin' break in half again, right? Something to consider. I will say this. I think that if you're going to play Justin Jefferson, the best way to probably play him is in a Nick Mullins stack, because a lot of people are going to play Jefferson tomorrow, but not a lot of people are going to stack him with Mullins. Don't forget, Jordan Addison is the number 2 wide receiver on this team. Jordan Addison is a guy who could, maybe they're going to just shut down Jefferson. He's going to be out there, and they're going to say, we're shutting him down, and Addison is that guy that has the sneaky play. Addison and T. Higgins in particular are 2 guys that I feel like have 3-point floors and 30-point upside tomorrow, right? Like, no one's going to play them because they're just not very consistent. But if you're playing GPPs and you're not at least considering Addison and T. Higgins for the upside that they offer, you're not playing this shit right. And I think the most interesting one, anytime there's a new quarterback, I tend to like running backs who catch the ball out of the field, but even more than that, I tend to like tight ends. And how can you not like TJ Hawkinson tomorrow, right? TJ Hawkinson at 5,800, once again, underpriced, going to be probably playing with a quarterback who wants to get a safe fill. I bet you see Hawkinson somewhere in the range of 9 to 12 targets at 5,800 with as good as he is. That seems really good. I think that he will be a rather nice play tomorrow. And to me, he's one of the 3 definitively really good tight end plays on this slate. Moving over to Cincinnati, I was the first one ringing the bell that Jake Browning did not blow donkey dick. I was the one telling you on that Monday night, or he could. And now he's Joe Montana. You're welcome, everybody. He's solid at 5,700. He's underpriced. He has weapons all around him. Mixon, Chase, Higgins. Hell, even Boyd and Hudson are solid, right? The guy's got weapons. They are going to be at home. Their offense has looked efficient. And let's face it, they still have kind of the framework of a Super Bowl team other than the fact that they're missing Joe Burrow. If he can just be 80% of Joe Burrow, this is still a really good football team and a really good offense. From there, Joe Mixon's actually, weirdly enough, been getting a smaller role. He has been getting subbed out more. We saw Chase Brown with a really big touchdown last week, but weirdly enough, it has made Joe Mixon better, right? It's like he's playing only about 65% of snaps, whereas he was closer to that 75-80 threshold, but it's actually making him more efficient. So it was, as much as I love my bell cow backs, Joe Mixon slightly becomes more interesting just because his role is being reduced, and I think it's keeping him a little bit fresher, and that guy's getting real old. I think he's like 26. Jamar Chase at 7,600, once again, laughably underpriced, especially now that we saw that Jake Browning can actually throw a forward pass. T. Higgins at 5,900, not a soul is going to play him. He only makes contested catches. They never throw him the ball. He could never do good. You could never play him. He'll never get there, or he could. I'm just saying, on a 3-game slate, if you're not saying or he could with these guys that we have seen in the past, you're not playing the game. I'm not telling you to play T. Higgins. T. Higgins has not done shit this year. T. Higgins is a whiny bitch, okay? T. Higgins has to get like a bunch of contested catches to have a good game. I get all these things. I get them all. But I also know this. No one's going to play him, and he has the ability to have a big game, and I'm always open to that. Moving on from there, Tyler Boyd at 4,100, I think is going to be a very popular choice as a punt wide receiver, but you don't really need to punt on this slate unless you're really trying to pay up for 3 or 4 guys. The pricing is just so soft. And then Tanner Hudson at 3,200, I'm just telling you, I know he doesn't get a ton of volume, but 4 targets, and the dude's talented. Like, this is an actual talent. He's like Trey McBride. He's not just a stiff that catches the ball. He's an actual stud. Moving on to the game that I think will be the lowest owned, Pittsburgh at Indiana. You can see we have a 42-point total. Both teams are implied to be 20 or higher points tomorrow. I actually think that this game is going to be the lowest owned game. If you have the cumulative ownership of all the games, I think this is going to be the lowest owned, and that is why it has my interest the most, because I actually think it has the ability to be the sneaky best shootout game on the slate. How on earth can I say that? Well, first of all, the game's in Indianapolis. We've already saw Indianapolis is kind of turned into like the Detroit Stadium, right? There's a lot of track meets at that place, right? Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the lowest owned quarterback on the slate without question. You could never play Mitchell Trubisky tomorrow. The Pittsburgh's got a good running game. Mitchell Trubisky turns it over. He sucks. They don't have blah, blah, blah. Dude, you can play Mitchell Trubisky, okay? The guy has rushing upside. He could easily get you 30 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. That's 9 points right there. He could throw for 200 yards, maybe throw 2 touchdowns. Mitchell Trubisky is the ultimate leverage stack tomorrow that nobody is going to consider. And I think you could probably get away with skinny stacking him, right? Skinny stacking with Deontay. Skinny stack him with Pickens, skinny stack him with Freiermuth. I think you can get away with any of those. Hell, you could probably even 1.5 stack him. Go Trubisky, one of those 2 running backs, either Najee or Warren, and then go pick the one guy with him. Because I'm telling you, Pittsburgh, everybody is going to write them off tomorrow as the one team not to play. They're in a dome. Their offense has at least had a pulse. And Mitchell Trubisky is not a good NFL quarterback, but he can be a good fantasy quarterback. And last time I checked, we're not playing build a franchise tomorrow. We're playing fantasy football. So I will take a guy that has upside. Moving over to Indianapolis, they're at home. Gardner Minshew, we know what he is. We know exactly what he is. He's probably going to get you 15 to 18 points, but if this game shoots out, this is a game that you could load up on 5 or 6 guys from this game. Zach Moss continues to let people down, but still continues to project off the charts. He's at home, and I'm going right back to the well. I'm just going to go down on this guy. What a statement. I'm going to go down playing this guy. Might be a better statement. Okay, he needs to go down on me for all the money he's been losing me, prick. So, here's what I'll say. Zach Moss is going to be wildly popular tomorrow. If you think you're getting tricky and you're going to get him in your lineups and nobody will play him because he's had 2 bad weeks, bro. People, this ain't 2019. People don't do that shit anymore. Zach Moss is going to be wildly popular tomorrow, so maybe the thing you do is you just go play the Colts passing game and just hope he continues to suck balls, right? Hey, C and Najad in the house, hitting the like button. You love to see when C is here on a Friday night. All right, that man is busy and famous, and he still finds time to be here. So, moving on, if you want to play the anti-Moss stack, well, then just consider just Minshew and stack him with Pittman, who is also going to be very popular. Downs, or if you're a real sicko, realize that Alec Pierce is a guy that can get there with just one bomb, and we've already seen it, right? He's a guy that he gets one type of catch. Bombs. That's all he gets, right? And maybe he'll catch it. He probably won't, but he could. And if you're a real sicko, I guess you could play Granson and Mallory. They both project, okay-ish for basically bum-cheap wide receiver options. But I think that I want to pay up at tight end tomorrow. I really like the tight ends on this slate. I'm not trying to punt there. And the last game probably will be the most popular simply just because of the total, right? 48-point total. It's in Detroit. We've already known this. And if you want to know 2 little facts, Denver's offense has been looking sneaky good, and their defense has been looking sneaky good. Right? That's 2 things. And Detroit's offense has been looking sneaky ball suck, okay? So this game, it gets interesting. If this game is 31-28 and there is 900 yards of offense in this game, it will not surprise me. It will not surprise me, right? But also, if this game is 17-13 and there's 600 yards of offense, that also won't surprise me, Bob. So this is one of those games you're really going to have to flag plant. How do you want to use this game? I can already tell you how I'm going to use this game. I'm going to use this game basically making strategic plays in the first 2 games and then using this game to determine how I want to play it. If things are going well for me, I'm probably going to eat up some chalk in this game. But I also think that there's some really nice pivots in this game that you can get to if things are going poorly. So I'm going to use this game as my what the hell, how did the first 2 games go game, all right? That's what I'm going to do. Russell Wilson seems like he is due for 23 points. The fact that he is the second highest price quarterback on the slate is just hilarious, but he has been remarkably consistent. I do think if Denver is going to beat Detroit, they're probably going to have to get to 24, probably 28 points, and it's hard to see Russell Wilson not having a solid game if Denver gets to 24 or 28 points, right? Running back Javonte Williams finally broke the curse. The motherfather did realize that there is a big thing called the box, and he is allowed to fall on it and get a 6 points. That's called a touchdown. Thanks, Javonte. Try doing it again, Dickie. And from there, Courtland Sutton is definitively the number 1 wide receiver. He gets a touchdown every week, and Jerry Jeudy sucks. So everybody is going to play Courtland Sutton tomorrow, and I'm going to play Courtland Sutton over Jerry Jeudy unless things aren't going well. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go play Donkey Dick Jerry Jeudy over Sutton to get a little bit of leverage, right? I think Marvin Mims, if I'm punting in a wide receiver tomorrow, him and Jamison Williams just strike me as 2 guys that could get that 180-yard catch tomorrow and break the slate. And at their price tags, literally if they just get like 3 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown, that will likely break the slate at those price tags. So very open to that. And I don't even mind old Fisherman, the Trout man, right? I think he could get there too. So plenty to consider with Denver, but the best thing I could tell you about Denver is they have plenty of pivots, right? You play Javonte if things are going well. You play Samaje if they're not. You play Sutton if things are going well. You play Jeudy or Mims if they're not, right? There's great pivots to make off these teams. Getting over to Detroit, I think certainly they will be the highest owned team if you add up cumulative ownership of any one team. Jared Goff has been looking like a donkey dick. First of all, he's just an average NFL quarterback. Let's not forget that. But he is playing at the best field in the NFL when it comes to fantasy scoring. I do expect him to get it going again tomorrow. The Gibbs and Montgomery cannot be ignored out of the backfield, but maybe what you do is to get off of all the ownership Gibbs and Montgomery is going to have is you just go stack Jared Goff and 2 of his pass catchers, right? It could definitely get there. Jared Goff could definitely throw for 350 with 2 or 3 touchdowns tomorrow, right? That could definitively happen. All right, or maybe you go Goff, Gibbs, and 1 pass catcher, right? Maybe 1.5 stacking because you know Gibbs probably going to get 5 or 6 targets out of the backfield, right? There's lots of creativity to play with Detroit. I think Amon-Ra, weirdly enough, is going to be lower owned than Chase and Jefferson, but I actually think he's a better play than those guys. So I would rather just play him in that case, or maybe you play both of them. Or I think with this soft ass pricing, you could probably get away with playing all 3 of them, right? How gross is that? From there, if you want to just come into this game and just get pieces of this game, I think David Montgomery is the ultimate guy to just go grab from Detroit. Just grab that 1 piece and then just fade the shit out of the rest of them and hope Montgomery goes for 120 and 2 touchdowns and basically nerfs the value of all the Lions. Maybe you could even pair him up with a Lions defense, right? That could be a really nice pairing, right? Like a Pinot Noir and a pepperoni pizza. I've already told you, trying to figure out Detroit's wide receivers, you might as well just go to Vegas and just go play like a 000 roulette table. You have no idea what you're doing. I would guess Jameson Williams would be the one guy that can catch a big one, but every time I've bet on that guy, I've had one thing in common. I've been wrong, so fuck that guy. And then Sam Laporta, the guy's an absolute stud. He's one of the 3 big tight ends that I just don't know which one to play, but I really want to play some Sam Laporta because I know a little secret about him called he doesn't suck. He does not suck at football. All right, so there you go. That is a quick rundown. We are going to be watching Josh Reynolds' injuries, Samaje Perine. We're going to make sure that Justin Jefferson active and not going to be limited. He said he's playing, but it's worth noting. And we're going to make sure nothing weird happens with Nick Mullins and make sure that we don't see some Jaron Hall starting at quarterback tomorrow, even though it appears as though it's going to be Nick Mullins. It is the NFL. Sometimes coaches change their mind. They are kind of fickle SOBs. Make sure you're hitting the like button over there. We'll say if we get to 80 likes, we'll give away a ticket. While we do, I'm going to go answer some questions. Before we do, guys, go check out my site right here, NFL DFS. You just go down here and you can see, you can get all of college football bowl games and all of the NFL for the next month, and it's $34.99, right? I'm just telling you, it's a perfect time to do it. Finish out the season strong. You should be able to spend more of your money on DraftKings lineups than on your tout sites that you're doing all that. I have the Rosetta Stone, which gives you everything you need to know. I do special behind the paywall streams before the lock of every single slate. I have a team of sweaty tryhards that help me out. And you know what? We just have a great community. Just look at all these motherfathers flying the flag, winning $20,000, $20,000, $21,000, $1,200, $4,400, $3,500, $4,400. I just $20,000, $4,000, $100, $3,700. I just get so excited to see these guys winning because they just form their own process. I'll tell you what, every single one of these motherfathers did it themselves. They're not doing it with my picks and plays. They're big boys who can make their own lineups, and they have their own process, and they're there to learn and be part of a community, and that's what we offered over at TGen75, okay? Let's see. By the way, if you're one of the members over on my site, go fill out my survey. I want every single person to fill out the survey so I can best serve you guys in 2024. So get over there and fill it out. It's on the page. Don't make the editor email you. Don't make him do it. You know he'll do it. He's a crazy man. All right, let's get to some questions. Editor, if we get to 75 likes preemptively, go ahead and do a drawing. If not, I'm answering these questions, and then I'm getting out of here because I still got to go do college football tomorrow because that's what a tryhard I am. All right, my voice is getting sore. Too much yelling. Will Ty Chandler be 75% owned? No, I think he is going to be very owned. I would guess right at around 50 to 60. So I think you're being a little dramatic, but not as dramatic as you think you are. Thursday night was the ultimate lesson of, or they could. That's exactly right. And that's what I love about these smaller slates. Or they could pace off so much more, Steven, on these smaller slates. Most owned captain and showdown Saturday, Ty Chandler. Yeah, if you're playing a single game, if you're just playing single game in that first one, I would imagine Ty Chandler probably would be. Yep. But we're talking 3-game slate, you motherfather. Are you going to pay up at D for such a small but awesome slate? I'm going to probably play some counter narrative, right? Everybody's convinced that the Lions are going to do well. Well, then maybe I play the Broncos defense, right? Everybody thinks that, Jake Browning's the truth. Maybe I'll play the Vikings defense, right? Something like that. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I like to use my defense as just another way to kind of be contrarian to the field, especially on these smaller slates, right? Chandler or Najee Harris? Woo! I think Chandler definitely has a better floor, but I think Najee Harris will probably be about 1/3 the ownership. So it's going to kind of come down to what the rest of your lineup looks like. Do you think overstacking this slate could be the nuts? Yeah, I think one of these games feels like it's going to go a lot higher than the rest. I don't know which one, Tweezy, but I think having 5 or 6 guys from one game is a way to really build your lineup differently than everybody else is. 2 tight ends sneaky? Definitely. People just don't play 2 tight ends. And when you got guys like Hawkinson, Freiermuth, Hudson, and Laporta, I am going to be open to playing 2 tight ends tomorrow. And I never play 2 tight ends except when I do. Does Mullins have enough upside in this matchup? I will say I'm not sure. I mean, you know what helps? Having Jefferson as your wide receiver, Hawkinson as your tight end, those things help. If he were going to be low owned, I would play him, but my current projections have him almost at 20%, right? That's kind of high to me, Bob. Kind of high. I know it's only 6 teams to choose from, but that's still above average ownership, right? How would you play this Detroit backfield? Well, I do it one of 2 ways, right? I probably go with Jared Goff, Gibbs, and a pass catcher, kind of a 1.5, or I just try to fade him and go David Montgomery and hope he has the big running game, right? That's the 2 ways I would consider playing it. Do you like Dobb stacks? Yeah, about as much as I like running marathons up a hill in snow. Has the big guy been getting more sleep with no PGA? Not really. I've been interviewing people. We're growing the sat in 2024. Shit be real busy, Bob. Real busy. All right. Ryan Jacobs says, is it better to play a running back when they're not splitting the carries than with another back? Yes, I think so. That'd be my opinion. What's the most, whoa, what the shit did I just click on? What's the most players from one team you'd stack? I think 4. I think, like let's say you want to go Goff, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and you think they're going to boat race the Broncos, go toss in the defense too. I think you can get away with 4. If you're a real sicko, maybe 5, but you really get yourself into a narrow script there where you're going to need like probably a 38-3 type game. Double tight end build, already answered it. Justin says, what's the most amount of players, doesn't know how to use a question mark, in a single game you're comfortable with in a large GPP? I would go up to 6 players from one game tomorrow. I'll probably have some lineups where I will game stack and probably have 6 guys. 5 is probably better, but I think I could get up to 6 because there's one game I really like. Bengals defense going to be high owned? Yes, I think they will be. At home with a soft pricing against the team with the smallest total, I do think that they'll probably be over 25%. In your DFS journey, did you have a light bulb moment when all the layers of the game came into focus? Definitely, Doug. At PGA DFS, it was the weekend. It was when I won my first big GPP, and Bubba Watson said that, if I'm not, like, I got to be at the NBA All-Star game, and if the tournament's still going on, I'll just withdraw. And then everybody who loved Bubba freaked out, didn't play Bubba. I said, fuck all this stupid news. He's the best player in this field at a course he loves. I'm going to play him and get the leverage. And then I ended up winning that GPP. And ever since then, I was like, oh shit, whatever this community agrees on, especially at PGA, just go the other way and you will do so much better because the groupthink in PGA DFS is fucking laughable. All right, moving on. How do you know when to late swap? Down, big, close? Yeah, so let's say I'm up at the top of a leaderboard. I start looking at all the other lineups around me, right? The other thing is if you're not at the top of the leaderboard, simply go click on the little player tabs on DraftKings and go see who is scoring the points. Are the guys in your lineup outscoring the other guys at that position, right? Especially the guys that you own. Like, what's their ownership versus the other guys? Is the guy at 81% going off, or is he doing shitty, right? And once you kind of figure out the art of seeing that, you'll quickly be able to realize how the field is doing overall compared to you, right? Minshew stacks with a Pickens run back. Don't hate it. I especially if you fade Moss. I think that's mega leverage, right? AJ, let's be nice. We're not kissing anybody's whatever. Dude, what makes you Lord of questions? Some people. Are we not being nice? Some people need to stop calling out the chat. Oh, be nice. Be nice. You guys want to fight? Go to another fucking chat. All right, Browning and Chase. Since I let people down last week, Browning and Chase. Yeah, I mean, I guess I think that's going to be a very popular combination. I think people have forgiveness in their heart. Bill. Season's greetings, motherfather. Thank you, Oliver. Can you share your knowledge on what the main difference between the scoring in DraftKings and FanDuel is? Yeah, it's pretty simple. DraftKings does full point PPR, right? They do yardage bonuses, and FanDuel doesn't do either of those. So over on FanDuel, touchdowns are infinitely more valuable than they are over on DraftKings. DraftKings, a wide receiver can get there with 10 catches for 120 yards. If that's all he does, that's 25 points. That's a big game, right? That same performance over on FanDuel would only be 17. Solid, but definitely not dominant, right? So that's the biggest thing right there. Without those full point receptions and the yardage bonuses, that's where the biggest difference comes from. Would you prefer 4 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, or 3 running backs on the slate? What position's the priority? I think running back is where I'm really going to focus, right? I think most people are going to focus on wide receivers on the slate. To me, this seems like a really strong running back slate, and I think I'll be running a lot of running backs in the flex. How much will Trubisky be owned? I only have him about 10%. Everyone hates Mitch. Yeah, I think he's going to certainly be the least owned of all of them. Does the LSU reunion push Jefferson and Chase to break the slate? I mean, I don't think those guys are going to be like, hey, we went to LSU. Let's play better today. So I don't know if I buy that. Why haven't you hit the like button, new guy? A solid question. Double stack Russ? I think so. I just... it does seem like a Russ day tomorrow. I won't lie to you, but I just don't know who the hell I'd double stack him with. How do you feel about trying Superflex tomorrow? I feel like I'm too damn busy, Steven. I still got to, I don't got time to get out of my comfort zone, man. Double tight end today, tomorrow? Possibly. Clueless take from the degenerate. Man, AJ's getting on my fucking nerves. Editor, boot this motherfucker. Let's see. I'm not hitting the like button, or you could. Let's see. Oh, man. Is he even giving shit to Sia? Ban AJ. Fuck that guy. Toxic mother father. All right. Where do you think the weakness is in the people who are just pumping out lineups from Sims? Where do you think the weakness? Yeah, so I think the Sims are going to lead people to really stacking the Lions, right? I think you're going to see a lot of guys with 3 and 4 lineup guys, right? So that's where I would guess that the Sims are going to be pushing a lot of people. Playing Jace Brown getting too cute. I think on a 3-game slate you could consider it, but man, he really found lightning in a bottle, Romy. I think you're kind of chasing ghosts there. On a 3-game slate, do you like overstacking your target game or staying skinny? I like to overstack a game because the chances are one of these games is going to largely outperform the other two, right? And if it does, I want to get as much of that as possible. There is a chance it won't, and then I'll just go down in flames, right? Thoughts on playing Laporta and Hawkinson in the same lineup? Yeah, those would be, if I'm stacking 2 tight ends, those are like 2 of the guys at the top of my list. Taking both Gibbs and Montgomery and Stretch, yeah, I don't like it. They're just kind of 2 separate dudes, right? They kind of, I feel like depending on how the game goes, one could have a good game, and depending on how the game goes, the other one could have a good game. I don't love them together, right? Don't love them together. Let's see. There's no fight. I just boot people and never talk to them again. Pretty easy. You can do that when you have your own show and you don't give a shit if people watch it. It's a magical time. All right. Hawk and Laporta low owned? No. The Laporta, Freiermuth, and Hawk are all going to be over 20%. That will be the big 3 tight ends. If you want to get cute and play lower owned tight ends tomorrow, you're looking at like Tanner Hudson. You're looking at either Granson or Mallory from the Colts, or you're probably looking at old Fisherman Troutman from Denver, right? Those would be the guys you'd be looking at if you're looking for a low owned tight end. And they're obviously going to be lower owned because they're just not as good at football players as those other guys. What does the ownership look like on Trubisky? I already told you. I think he's going to be the lowest owned. I think he'll be around 10 to 12%, depending on what contest you are playing in. All right, guys, bigger crowd tonight than I thought. I appreciate all of you being here. I will be back tomorrow at 7, so make sure you are here in the Lord's time zone. We will be breaking down the main slate. Good luck tomorrow. For all of you on my site, go fill out that fucking survey. Be there tomorrow morning. We are doing the behind the paywall stream to get you ready. Make sure there's no weird news in that first game. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your Friday night. I'll talk to you later. Remember to be nice or fuck off. Enjoy this outro.